You sick?
So last snap I said, should we talk about this? And I was like, So fevers. I feel like the old me, when Lane was a baby, if there was a fever and he had a fever, I'd be like, oh my God, like sweating, stressed, got to get him in the bath, got to give him Tylenol, got to call the doctor. And it would have been like this huge ordeal. Like I used to have this different perspective and different belief on fevers. But then when I started to, Lily was diagnosed with autism, which threw me into research on how our body works and natural healing and all that kind of stuff, right? You guys know this about me if you've been following me for a while. What I realized is like, dude, that's like your body just taking care of itself. And that's exactly what it should be doing. And you don't want to actually reduce the fever because all you're doing is putting a Band-Aid on the problem. And then, so just in case you don't know, but I know a lot of you probably do know this already, but when our bodies have an infection or illness, a fever is actually the body's natural response. And it's actually a really good sign to have a fever, even if it's a high fever, because what that is a sign of is that your body is actually working, or that your immune system, I should say, your immune system is working properly. What's really cool about all of this is that like we sometimes, I know for me before, I used to be like, I feel like my body was almost broken. But what's really cool to know is that God created us perfectly, our bodies to work properly and function properly, and all this stuff is great. But sometimes when we're not taking care of our bodies, our immune system is down or our bodies aren't working the way they should. And not having a fever would be something I would be nervous about now. Somebody Tylenol or something to reduce the fever, what we're actually doing is we're stopping our body by reducing the fever from working and from fighting that infection. So every time you give your kid Tylenol or give yourself Tylenol or whatever, all you're doing is you're stopping your body from getting rid of the illness. So it's actually going to take longer for you to get over the cold, the fever, whatever it is. Because if you're never allowing the body to do its job by getting rid of the illness and the infection in your body, it's just going to take longer. And I remember when I was younger, I would be sick all the time, especially when I was in college because lack of sleep, probably drinking, eating bad foods. And I would be, I said lack of sleep because that was a big one for me. Even now when one of the kids come home with like, let's just say Lane's at school and he comes home sick. If I've gotten sleep and my immune system's good and I'm eating well and taking care of myself, I'm fine. But if like Hudson had me up all night or whatever, I feel like then my immune system's down and I am more likely to get that cold or whatever it is, the bug that he brought home from school. The last thing I want to tell you, which is a little bit out there, but I don't recommend giving kids Tylenol. Because these medications do have side effects, and these medications can, I don't know how to, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how to really explain this well, but it can really have effects on your liver, which that's the detoxing, right? So like, for example, when you bring your child in to get shots, I know when I was with Lane, they'd be like, oh, if he spikes a fever, just give him Tylenol. Well, when you're getting a vaccination, this isn't controversial, okay? So just hear me out. But when you're giving your child vaccination, you are putting in things in his body that are not natural. And so the body is going to try to detox those things. But if you're giving the child Tylenol after they've just been injected with things like toxins, and you give the kid Tylenol, the liver is unable to work properly because Tylenol can really do some damage to the liver, actually. So don't take my word for this, because guess what? I'm just the small town girl. I'm just a mom of 3. I'm no doctor, but I highly recommend you do some research on this. I wrote a blog on this stuff and I gave you tips on what I actually do when my kids get an illness and some natural remedies. So next snap, check it out and I'll post that blog for you.